Call regular meeting number 10 for the year 2024 to order, and ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer. Join me in allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the roll call. Leader Martinez, budget officer, would you like to come up? Yes. The tentative 2025 county budget. Get a picture. Yeah.
Okay. Dear members of the board and the Greene County community at large, once again, I have the privilege of presenting you a tentative budget which will be no change to the property tax levy for fiscal year 25, as I have outlined for the past 6 years. There again will be no change to the property tax levy. No increase in the property tax levy once again. They wrote this for it, says, I love repeating that statement. Okay, carrying on. Our respective policy objectives of not holding the line on property taxes, but maintaining physical stability, once again achieved through this budget. Over the course of the last few years, we have adopted budgets that are realistic and met the needs of our citizens. Additionally, we have completed multiple large-scale capital projects, which required millions in investment. Projects such as the Catskill Solid Waste Transfer Station, improvements to both the Hunter and Cooksaki transfer stations. We have also turned over numerous motor vehicles in our fleet, assuming less functional downtime and reducing maintenance costs. Storage Point underwent a successful seawall restoration. The Education Center at Cohote Reserve has been completely rehabilitated, ensuring our students at Columbia Greene Community College have the necessary environmental labs. The millions spent on improvements have been made possible by annual budget surpluses, have allowed us to avoid the consequences of serial bonds and bond debt. Summary of the expenses increase are in the following areas: personal by approximately 2.6 million, New York State pension by 1 million, maintenance agreement contracts and utilities combined to add another 5 million. Revenue side of the equation increases with grants, fees total approximately 1.8 million. Projected solid waste bill fees increased about 725,000. And of course, the county signal largest revenue sales tax will increase once again by 2.5 million. Listing of other increases can be found in the tentative budget document that will be posted on the county website shortly. Certainly, the significance of sales tax cannot be overstated. The fiscal year 2019 has grown substantially. The largest sector to increase has been purchase of the internet. Statewide projections have now determined that these annual increased receipts have likely reached their apex. In all reality, the prospects sales tax surplus are possibly over. While we had tremendous success with tourism in our county, we must also concede that sales tax activity is mostly outside of control of the county. It's contingent on the local, regional, and national economics. Previous budget message has also included projection one-year budgets. This board's policy not to be surprised by budgetary factors. Currently, estimates for fiscal year 26 indicated modest imbalance. However, we have confidence it will be addressed and that 26 will also result in another year of flat property tax. Fiscal year 27, 28 are more challenging. But with these forecasts, the legislature has time to react and challenge the budget equation. The ability to commence evaluation and research means to address conditions that are 24 to 26 months out of paramount. With this submittal, let us set a public hearing for Monday, October 28th at 6 p.m. at Casco High School Auditorium. At that time, a complete outline of the tentative budget will be presented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr.
Well read.
I just have a question about it. I brought it up the other night about our fund balances. So we've kind of maximized these fund balances over the years through conservative plan. And we're definitely gonna have another $9 to $10 million surplus in sales tax. I really feel like we need to have some plan for that, ways that we can get that back to taxpayers. We have things that either we could give that back on it as a tax levy, or is there something that we can do to help each of the towns, with that? And divvy that excess fund balance that we have to do things for town governments, that the general people can't do for themselves, that we could assist with. I brought it up the other night. I wanted to defer it to Sean to give us some ideas as to what we could do with that.
Yeah.
So, been in government for 20 years, and I believe that if you're having a zero increase, that's great. I would never go down, because once you go down, you're inevitably gonna go up. But, and I understand what Matt's saying, but we're in a pretty volatile economy right now. We have money there. When projects come up, just like the water line in Caro, all the, all these special projects come up. Isn't it better to have that money to pay it without bonding it? And not that I don't want to give money back to the taxpayer, but you're not taxing them anymore. These projects pop up quite frequently. Isn't it better to have that money to pay it off?
We do.
And
Excess
get it
fund
done.
balance. Excess fund balances.
I know what he's talking about, but I'm saying that money is better spent in our coffers to take care of things that could and will happen.
Yeah, I get that. And we set up special reserve funds for that we've maximized.
I know, I'm just
Maximized.
expressing my opinion. That's it.
So we're expressing mine.
I know, and I understand.
Talking about giving money to the towns for projects.
I understand that, and, all right, well, and if you do that, if you give money back to the towns, I would hope it's not based on population, it's based on percent of income coming from property tax, because 46% from the mountaintop. So I expect if you're gonna give $5 million back, $2.5 million is gonna go to the mountaintop. I'm done.
You should go back to who's paying into the system, paying
Exactly.
the taxes.
So I'm saying,
Didn't we give 100,000 each town and village a while back?
That was American Recovery money.
We gave two different distributions. First distribution was a 100,000 to all 19, so 14 towns, 5 villages. We followed up with that with 25,000. So round numbers, 2.5 million, $2.4 million we distributed. And when we made that distribution, we also gave a outline as to how the money should be spent, and as importantly, perhaps how it should not be spent.
Right.
And it should not have been spent on operating budgets, payroll, and things that are not gonna disappear. The focus would be a capital project, a fixed asset that would perhaps have a 20-year useful life that you may not have been able to work on without going to tax. Matt,
I'm not saying give them a blank check. I'm
Right.
saying, what can we do to improve each community? That's what.
okay, well, I guess in the definition of how the money is to be spent would be the first task. The formula, I mean, I could give you a dozen formulas on how to redistribute backward, if you will. And then depending upon that formula, that math, determine the aggregate amount, run your formula, and then it goes out 14 towns and or 5 villages at the same time. And Charlie outlined, we try to do a budget forecast for the next 3 fiscal years. 26 has a small imbalance at this point that I'm not worried about, save what New York State may do with some future budget years. And I acknowledge that for this fiscal year that the estimate for the sales tax surplus is now 9. It started higher in the fiscal year. It has now come down. We should caution as to how much we want to fixate that. But I also have to advise that there would also be a surplus on the expenditure side of the budget. There's 2 sides of a budget, revenues and appropriations. And when you bash them together like we did last year, you end up with a $15 or $16 million surplus. And we've done that consistently over the last number of years, partially through the conservative budgeting process that we have all adopted. And we've lived within those means. So yes, I think there is an amount that could be determined to redistribute. And the key would be the formula. It could be a mixed bag of, you could divide the money up into 5 pots, each pot having a different formula. I think as Daryl just mentioned, it's the collection from the levy is driven by the taxable evaluation of towns, where the sales tax is driven by economic activity by the town. Two different sources of income there. Secondly, as Matt pointed out, this board, you have set up designated capital reserve funds very specific to future uses. I almost want to label them their pre-planned expenses. We know the fleet is going to age out. We know that we got to change those trucks out. So by squirreling the money away now, it provides budget sanctity because you don't have a washboarding effect of having a $200,000 purchase one year and zero the next year. You would consistently then reserve the money for those pre-planned expenses. You also have the property tax stabilization fund, which was the safeguard against the economy going south, the sales tax collections dropping. So we have in fact set that table. You have over the last 4 to 5 years have consistently built yourselves into this financial condition that truthfully is envious.
And those fund balances are pretty high.
They're a wonderful, we are in a wonderful financial position. So the caution that I would have is that if we're going to have a distribution, it does not need to be tied to the budget adoption because the source of the money is going to be fund balance anyway. It's not going to be appropriated fund balance. But we can spend some time on devising the methodology and then the means by which how we would want to direct the towns and or the villages to expend it. Again, I would caution against monies being appropriated for payroll and continuing expenses, because if this is going to be a one-time shot, that's going to set that town or village up for a financial wall the succeeding year. But if you're talking about a capital project, a highway building, vehicles, boilers, roofs, things that are just getting old and tired, and it's also a 20-year fixed asset, I think that is a much more appropriate assistance that we can provide them. At the same time, safeguarding our own sanctity to make sure that those future budget projections are going to be handled, and then we can continue the zero levy, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, possibly for a 10-year period. Right? And that is a very enviable position to be in. with the rates of inflation, labor contracts, healthcare costs, even retirement, we outlined the increase in the retirement bill in 26, not 25. It's going up in 25, but it's going up a lot in 26. So I think it's a very interesting discussion that we could have. Does not need to be tied into the budget adoption. But certainly in a 60, 90-day period, we can determine what is the dollar amount and by which means to distribute. I think that can get done fairly quickly.
And we could set the parameters, so we have that say. It's not just a blank, here's money.
It's clay, you mold it.
That's what I was going to ask, what were your thoughts
That was
on
my
that
thought,
when you were
right.
thinking of what was your vision of what you were saying?
Similar to what we've already done, we set some parameters that Sean comes up with. Something that, the people can't fix for themselves. We have the funds. Can we do something to help them fix whatever needs to be fixed in our community?
Could be Main Street.
Every town, every municipality has their own, issue.
We're not thinking all 9 million, right?
No.
No, I'm not thinking all 9 million, but
Half.
we're gonna be well over 10 million. You said close to 14 million. So, I mean,
Should,
'Cause there's
5 or 6,
there's two sides, 'cause-
there's half of it.
Yeah.
5 million.
So, and I'm just gonna throw this out there, it's not gonna be popular, but I've been asking for years. Stop charging our towns services that are required by New York State. We back charge on real property services, we back charge on election services. These are not things that our towns have any control over, and 80 to 90% of the board votes no on it.
Yeah, but that's
So I
an every year
understand.
thing, Pat.
It's
This
not,
is not an
that
every year.
directly bills our towns.
So you're asking us to take
Yeah,
on
but look-
something every year.
Look at the relief we took off the
Totally
town.
opposite of what I'm saying.
Look
Yeah, I
at,
agree.
look at the relief we took
Back
off the
charge
towns
to the
many
colleges.
years ago when we took the college charge back.
It's the right
That's
thing
not
to
what
do.
I'm asking.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's
He's
what he
saying
said.
that'd be an every year thing. This is not an every year thing. No, this
It's
is
a
this is-
one-shot deal.
It's a one-shot deal.
Yeah, it's $5 million, you divide it up. And for projects, and you have to okay your project.
What about a revolving fund and we become the bank and it's just 0%? They just gotta pay the principal back on their projects they gotta do. That's a huge savings still in this market also.
I'd have to research the legality of that. We're not in the loaning business.
Then you're not giving.
Even no interest, it's the payback, maybe I'd have to check that.
$5 million is not really a lot of money.
No, it's not.
It's not, it's not a lot of money.
But it's
Why
never
don't
done,
you
never
not
been done before.
keep that in the coffers?
News.
Our coffers are fat.
They are now, go back
Come on,
20 years.
let's-
How packed
Let's
were
be
they?
honest with the people.
We are being honest with the people. We're on Zoom where everybody can
Yep.
hear it.
A lot of money.
I would rather
To go back to
go
them.
with 0%. And be able to maintain that for.
Yeah, we
long.
are. We have
It's just
stabilization
my
funds that
opinion.
we've established over the last
It's just
10 years.
I'm just saying. Would you want a one-shot deal? You're saying give everybody a one-shot deal, they will feel warm and fuzzy, next year you say, oh, by the way, you're going up 8%.
That's not what we're
Wow.
saying at all. You missed the whole point. Missed
No,
the
but-
whole point.
In theory, that could happen.
Right.
No, it can't.
I
We have
understand the
the
whole point.
fund balances that we've established. Kevin could give us numbers of what's in each of those funds. Sean, you could give us the numbers of what's in each of those funds. That's not going to
Property tax
happen.
stabilization has 11.
That's not going to happen.
Just one.
You promise? You'll put your life on that? It ain't gonna happen.
Talk to the administrator. Don't talk
He
to
didn't- he's
me.
not saying.
You're not making any sense up there.
I think it's a worthy discussion to have.
I think it needs to be discussed with the budget. That's why I brought it up.
14.
Does that affect the budget at all?
No.
Well, it's fund balance. So what are we doing? What are we doing with that fund balance?
It would affect more in the March timeframe when we balance the books after the year end.
Right, the fund balance can't be, I mean, that's not something that has to be decided upon when we do the
Well,
budget,
when
right?
we're sharing the budget with the public, we should be open and honest that we're gonna have a projected over $10 million surplus.
Well, we are
Yeah.
honest with that every
We
year.
always tell them whatever.
So I
That's
just
what I'm
think
saying.
we
So
have
what,
to make
what
a
should we do with
decision.
that?
Do we have to decide on how much and when and where when we do the budget process? Or is that something that can be brought
I
up?
think should be part of the budget process.
It might wind up as a complete new EMS system. That's a $10 million bill.
Yeah.
I don't know where that discussion goes. So,
Well, that's
I mean, there's other things.
down the line.
It's down the line, but I'd much rather have that hand in the bush than we're looking for it later on.
Put that money on the justice building instead of bonding it.
Pay off the jail.
What do you think that bond is
There's a
gonna
lot of
cost?
things that you can use that money for.
20 years or whatever.
I think it's
Not me,
a
I'm
good discussion to
back
have.
to the people.
Well,
Absolutely.
if you pay down your debt, you are giving it back to the people.
Absolutely.
You're definitely saving them money. And, it's, I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Losing control, Chairman.
You started this, Charlie. This was in your report. We're just answering questions.
I worry about things like natural
So,
they're getting worse and worse.
Which we have the funds for, Linda. We have the funds if there's a natural disaster. We have the funds in all of these fund balances. So let's be honest here. We have the money to do that. We have the money if an emergency comes up.
You say so?
Greedy.
Yeah.
I can remember when we sold the hospital in Columbia County. And I asked the treasurer at that time, how much money we got left? He said we used it for payroll. Things were tough back then. Now we got it, so, we should be very careful how we dole it out, really.
I agree. That's why we established those fund balances.
well, if
We have a lot of money in them.
and this can be part of the discussion that we have on this, but I also want to note that just because we're at a flat levy, our budget is not flat.
That's right.
Our budget is maintenance. What else?
That's where you need to be looking.
So
That's where you need to look,
the
everybody.
one-shot deals are all well and good, but it doesn't affect, the one-shot deals aren't going to affect it each year. Your budget has not reduced, your budget has gone up.
We're gonna have a slide in that budget presentation. It's gonna say all these projects that we could potentially do with this excess money. That's what I'm asking. I remember seeing something like that in that presentation.
We have,
Oh, and
we have future things that we see coming down the line that will take capital investments. Absolutely.
the one that I don't think is there is that EMS.
No.
Because we don't know where it's going.
No, I had, my presentation to you had a very large question mark as to what's gonna happen with the EMS system and how it may affect the county budget.
$5 million might go very well.
So I think it's a bigger discussion to have, and I certainly, think you're right, it's a good discussion to have.
I think it needs to be part of our, it needs to be part of the budget discussion. It's money that's in our budget.
So all I'm saying, but you won't know what your excess is until March.
You know what, we're pretty close to.
Projecting, aren't we?
We projected. We also projected over $10 million over in sales tax this year, and we didn't get that.
Pretty close.
Any other questions that you need answered?
Not a question I need answered, it's a statement. Well, I'm just saying that I really feel we have a responsibility to do something. We have the money to do it.
Okay, we'll set up any discussions.
Public hearing, October 28th.
Yeah. Public hearing is set for October 28th. I'm going to announce that again here. All right. Anybody else is good? Any other questions? Any other comments? Carol? There's no objections or corrections to the minutes of the previous meeting. I'll declare them approved. We get a motion and a second to dispense with committee reports.
Martinez,
Over. Thank you. No meeting correspondence for this month. That would be right into the resolution.
Resolution number 359-24, authorization to pay claims. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Hobart.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 360-24, authorization to pay claims highway. Offered by legislator Lewis, second by legislator Hobart.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 361-24, setting public hearing on local law introductory number 2 of 2024, amending section 6 of the Code of Ethics, increasing term limit for Greene County, adopted by local law number 2 of the year 1997, and as amended by local law number 3 of the year 1997. Offered by legislator Hobart, second by legislator
I'm gonna have to say that 3 times in the public hearing. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 352-24, amending resolution number 279-11, adopted by Greene County Administrative Manual, section 11-8, freedom of information law requests. Offered by Chairman Linger, second by legislator Hobart.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried.
Resolution number 363-24, authorization to enter into intermunicipal agreement with the town of Carroll to submit a press grant application to the New York State and the commitment of Greene County funds for construction and renovation of the Bruce Town of Carroll Senior Center. Offered by legislator Lennon, second by legislator Tru.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Opposed. One opposition. That's carried.
Resolution number 364-24, authorizing execution of a temporary and permanent easement with Champlain Hudson Power Express. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Slegg, and Chairman.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 365-24, authorizing grant matching funds, Greene County Historical Society. Offered by legislator Handle, second by legislator Slegg, and Overbaugh.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 366-24, authorizing agreement Roma Wallens Golden and New LLP. Offered by legislator Overbaugh, second by legislator Lewis.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 367-24, designating official tourism promotion agency. Offered by legislator Tru, second by legislator Handle.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 368-24, authorizing application and pledging matching funds to Isle of New York 2025. Offered by legislator Handle, second by legislator Lennon, and Overbaugh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 369-24, authorizing vehicle purchases, Greene County Transit. Offered by Chairman Linger, second by legislator Handle and Tru.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Opposed. Opposed. You would vote opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 370-24, authorizing shared services agreement with New York State Department of Transportation. Offered by legislator Lang, second by legislator Handle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 371-24, resolution concerning the impacts of efforts to electrify highway department vehicles by adoption of the advanced clean truck rule. Offered by legislator Lewis, second by legislator Handle, Thornton, and Chairman Linger.
I'd like to second that too, please.
David?
Davis. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 372-24, authorizing the county highway and solid waste superintendent to apply for funding from the Schoharie Watershed Management Implementation Program. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Hobart.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 373-24, authorizing purchase Road survey software, moved by legislator Hobart, second by legislator Greene.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 374 twenty-four, resolution in support of Seneca Meadows Valley infill permit application. Moved by legislator Hobart, second by legislators Handle and Knight.
I'd like to second that too, please.
Second that as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 375 twenty-four, authorizing purchase of tire shredding machine for Catskill Transfer Station. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Rivera.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 376 twenty-four, approving related service provider contract preschool special education program. Offered by legislator Tru, second by legislators Blumer and Davis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's carried.
Resolution number 377 twenty-four, authorizing out-of-state travel, Greene County Highway and Solid Waste Department, Wesley Benson and Joseph DeAngelis. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Lewis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 378 twenty-four, establishing equalization rates for 2024. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator White.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 379 twenty-four, amounts due the county treasurer by respective towns. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Hobart.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I am again opposed. And Blumer. That's carried.
Resolution number 380 twenty-four, establishing capital project number 153, 2024 state health and security grant program. Offered by legislator Martinez, second by legislator Handle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Resolution number 381 twenty-four, establishing capital project number 154, prepared fire training tower. Offered by legislator Lennon, second by legislator Hobart, and chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 382 twenty-four, establishing capital project number 155, County Road 23B, rehabilitation project, Main Street Leads, Town of Catskill, and authorizing an agreement with Bartlett and Jules. Offered by legislator Rivera, second by legislator Lennon.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 383 twenty-four, budget amendment of Greene County for digitization of records. Offered by legislator Lennon, second by legislator Lucas and Williams.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 384 twenty-four, budget amendments, Greene County Board of Elections, state fiscal year 24-25 grants. Offered by legislator Rivera, second by legislator Hobart.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 385 twenty-four, budget amendment, Greene County Human Services, Greenville. Offered by legislator Handle, second by legislator White and Overflow.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 386 twenty-four, budget amendment, illegal fentanyl prosecution. Offered by legislator Davis, second by legislator Lewis.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 387 twenty-four, budget amendment, opioid settlement fund. Offered by legislator Davis, second by legislator Hobart.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Memorial adjournments debate.
Yes, legislator Buelich and I have one. We'd like to do this together. This for our friend and colleague Heather Lynn Schindler, 57 of Catskill, passed away peacefully on Sunday, September 15th, 2024. Born on February 18th, 1967 in Catskill. Heather was the daughter of Marcia Bartels and Edmund Smith Jr. Heather spent her early years in Lake George, developing a special bond with her grandmother, Aretha Humphrey. Her love for family and close relationships started early and continued throughout her life. After moving to the Catskills, Heather attended Caro Durham High School, where she met the love of her life, Eddie Schindler. Heather and Eddie married in 1991 in Windham, New York, and together they built a loving family, welcoming 3 children, Nick, Reed, and Sophie. Heather's greatest joy in life was being a mom, pouring her heart into every moment she spent with her children, whether it was making her famous Belgian waffles for sleepovers or helping to plan her son Nick's wedding this past August. Heather always found ways to make her family feel loved and cared for.
Heather pursued her passion for teaching by earning her master's degree from the University of Albany. She went on to dedicate 32 years of her life to teaching 4th grade, where her students became like a second family to her. Even before she had her own children, Eddie lovingly joked that Heather already had 25 children each year in her classroom. She loved bringing treats and gifts to make her students feel special, and her warmth and dedication left a lasting mark on everyone she taught. Heather's presence at school was invaluable, often advocating for important issues at board meetings, which I know very well. She developed close friendships with colleagues Nancy Palmatier, Matt, Kim Jones, and Charles Daly, connections that lasted throughout their career and beyond. After her retirement in 2023, Heather celebrated with a party filled with laughter and fun memories. She marked the next chapter of her life with a month-long vacation to Siesta Key, Florida, which I took part in also, which I enjoyed, where she basked in the sunshine, spent time with loved ones, and indulged in her love of pickleball.
Heather also shared deep, decades-long friendships with her girls, Michelle Bulich, Mike's wife, Kelly Consul, Lisa Fitzmaurice, and Megan Arnott, women who brought so much joy and laughter to her life. She treasured time spent at her lake house on the Great Sacandaga Lake, the magic of fall, and anything pumpkin flavored, and tailgating at Penn State football games with her beloved Penn State crew. Above all else, Heather found happiness in being surrounded by family and friends. Christmas Eve, when she hosted her annual party, was one of her favorite days of the year, always filled with love and laughter. Heather lived a life overflowing with love, always going out of her way to support and celebrate those closest to her.
She is survived by her loving husband, Eddie Schindler, her children, Nicholas Schindler, his wife, Madison Schindler, Reed Schindler, his girlfriend, Isabel, Alfred, and Sophie Schindler, her mother and stepfather, Marcia and Eugene Bartels, and her father, Edmund Smith, her sister and brother-in-law, Megan and Frank Arnott, her brother and sister-in-law, Jared and Crystal Bartels, her brother, Chris Bartels, and her many nieces and nephews.
Heather was a beloved educator who taught in the Catskill schools for over 30 years. She had an amazing impact on all the students that she taught and is greatly missed by all of her colleagues. Heather was a teacher that would go above and beyond for her kids and always made school a fun place to be. I was blessed to work side by side with her for 20 years teaching 4th grade. We'll be forever grateful for the love and friendship that we shared. Heather was like a mother to so many people, to her students, to her friends, and to all of her own family. And I know our mother Mary said to her, "Enter into my son's house and get it ready for all of us." Yes.
I would just like to add that, you know, all of us in this room, as we go through life, you get lucky, you get fortunate to be able to count friends maybe on one hand. And I lost one of my fingers a month ago. That's how close she was to me. My life would have been hers to give, and her children the same. And it was a sad day, and it's been a sad month. And I know everybody will go through it. We'll get better, Matt will get stronger, and I'll get stronger. Her husband will get stronger, and her kids will get stronger, because she'll be watching over, and we'll be watching them also. So thank you for that.
Make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I get a second for the board.
Second.
Yep.
Remind everyone. About a one Steenberg grant. In for this month, those checks will be available Friday after 2 p.m. And as we discussed earlier, just a reminder to everyone that the public hearing on the tentative 2025 budget is scheduled for Monday, October 28th at 6 p.m. at Pat'sville High School auditorium. That's it.
Okay.
You're adjourned.